Photoshop Lesson 5-2, Selection Tools Continued. So we're going to continue on from 5-1, which was the beginning of the gingerbread house, as you can see on the screen and the PowerPoint. We're going to add the windows, the peppermint balls, and the roof, and the Christmas lights, and the chimney, and so on. All right, in order to do this, we're going to utilize the magnetic lasso tool, which works well on objects that have irregular shapes, particularly when there is a high contrast with the background. As you select the shape, the border snaps into place along the edge, creating its own fastening points or its own anchor points, which anchor the line and start a new line segment. You can also click to create fastening points manually. If you have difficulty using the magnetic lasso tool to trace around the edge of an object, try reducing the width, which you can see here I'm circling, and the edge contrast setting, so that you can outline your subject matter a little easier. You can also press Ctrl-Z to move the last segment of the line. You can also press the delete on the keyboard, which will erase the last anchor in which you dropped as you're using that tool and tracing around the subject. Let's get started. I want you to open My Computer, open up your H drive, open up your photography folder, and you should have your file 5-1. So mine says Joe S. data file 5-1.psd. PSD is the file extension name, stands for Photoshop. Now, rather than open it from my H drive, I want to drag it to my desktop. I want to open it from my desktop. The reason why I'm doing that is because that means that I'm opening the file right from the computer that's in front of me versus opening it from the H drive, which is at a remote location, and the file constantly working back and forth through the school network. This should actually run a little faster. Okay, I have this open. It's currently still titled 5-1, so let's go File and Save As. And all I'm going to change is the 1, so it should be 5-2. Should be saving that to the desktop. And say save. Okay. And notice up here where I'm circling, it now says 5-2, so I'm in good shape. Okay, what I want to do now is zoom in on the chimney, so I want to choose the magnifying glass. Up here in the control bar, make sure the plus sign is chosen, and zoom in. All right, now I want to right-click on the lasso tool and choose magnetic lasso. Okay. Notice my control bar up here has changed. And I want to set those settings so that my feather is set on 0. My width is set on 10. And my edge contrast is set at 10%. And the frequency is 57. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to click somewhere around the chimney. I want to start in the bottom right corner, click my mouse down, and I want to slowly start following the outline of the chimney. I notice that it will start to drop its own anchors. Think back to the lesson that we just went over a minute ago, and that is that at times you will have to click the mouse yourself and drop your own anchors. So sometimes the tool does not necessarily want to outline the shape the way in which you would like it to do. Now, if you drop an anchor like I just did, and it's in a spot where you don't want it, press delete on the keyboard and it erases the last anchor. You can continue to press delete and it would continue to delete anchors. All right, up here where the frosting is that I'm outlining right now, very difficult for the computer to recognize the difference between the off-white color of the frosting and the white color of the background. So I'm almost dropping all of these anchors myself. You only have to outline it so accurately, as this is just a practice exercise, but I want you to try to be as accurate as you can be. If you're doing this to your own photograph, obviously you would have to spend extra time to do an extra good job at outlining it. All right, so as I work my way around this, again, I've been dropping quite a few of the anchors up around the frosting. Now I can let the computer do it again, because there's a very distinctive difference between the color of the graham cracker and the background, obviously. And if you notice, it's good to go slow when you do this. All right, as I get back to the beginning, see a little white circle next to my lasso tool. I can click down and it completes the loop. You always have to have a complete loop in order to get the marching ants. So now I'm going to double click the hand, and when I click on the move tool, it puts the boundary box around the chimney, and I'm ready to move it into place. So I'm going to move this over here. Click back on the zoom tool. I'm going to zoom in. It's good enough. Maybe the hand tool, slide it over. Back to the move tool. And I want to position the chimney so it's in the center from left to right, in the center of the house to the right edge. And so that the bottom left corner is just barely touching the house itself. So just use your eye. That's good, right there. Okay. I'm all done moving it, putting it in a position. I'm going to press Control D. That turns the marching ants off. All right, good practice to get into is to save your work and save it often. So I want to say File, and I want to say Save because I've already saved it to the desktop. All right, next I am going to double-click the hand. Then I want to zoom in on the green rectangle with what I say are Skittles. No. Take that back. I want to zoom in on the roof. Excuse me. I'm going to zoom in on the roof. So choose the hand. Get down in here a little bit so I can see the roof. And I'm going to repeat using the same tool. So the magnetic lasso, and I'm going to outline the roof. So you can start any place where you'd like. Start in the lower right hand corner. And I'm going to outline the roof. And again, when you get up towards the top where the frosting is at, you may have to click a bunch of these anchors down yourself. Again, it's good to go slow. Gives the computer a chance to try and trace the object itself. One other thing I should probably mention is that anytime you abruptly change directions when you're tracing something, it's probably best to drop your own anchor by clicking down on the mouse. The computer is not always going to change directions quickly on its own. Again, do the best job you can. This is a practice exercise, but I would like for you to do a good job. Oh, I dropped one. It's not good. Let me erase the last one and the one before that. There you go. All right, go back to the beginning. Click it down. Creates the marching ants. Double-click the hand. Click on Move. Move the roof over close. Zoom in on the subject. Use the hand, move it over. Okay. Go ahead and put the roof into position, left to right, and top to bottom. And so notice how right in this area, my chimney is exposed down here in the bottom corner. So I'm going to move the roof up just so it's not exposed like that. Press Control D. Once again, I want to go ahead and save this. So File and Save, and I've already saved it to the desktop. All right, so double click the hand, and now zoom in on the green rectangle with the Skittles on it. There we go, just like that. All right, so now I want to choose the marquee tool, the rectangle marquee, and I'm going to put a rectangle marquee around the green rectangle, like this. Now, if I don't quite get all of the rectangle, that's fine. And it's better off if you don't get it all than if you get a little bit of the background. All right, so from here, I am going to click on the magic wand tool, and up in my options bar, I want to click on subtract from selection. Now I'm going to click on the green background, and notice that the marching ants are only around the Skittles, which is exactly what I want. I want to click on the move tool, and I want to move the Skittles over near the house. Double click the hand, go back to move, move them over in a position. I want to zoom in a little bit. Use the hand again to move the screen over. Choose move again. Okay. So what I need to do now is I need to rotate the Skittles. So put my pointer in the upper right hand corner till it curves. I want to rotate them and try to match the angle of the roof best that you can. And then I want to change their size. So I want to hold shift down and drag them from the corner and then move it over into position. Maybe this time go in the upper left hand corner. That looks pretty good. And now maybe actually skew it from the bottom up a little, top down. All right, looks good. What I want to do next before I unselect these is go back to the move tool, say apply the transformation, hold the Alt key down, and make a copy of these off to the right. Okay. So the original set of Skittles are in place. The other set are off to the right. So what I want to do now is go to Edit, Transform, and flip horizontally. Okay, then move these down into position. Looks pretty good. These two here are overlapping each other, which is pretty close to the center. Now, it does leave me a little short on the right-hand side. Let's move it down and see how that looks. If I do something, well, use your best judgment. One side of the roof is a little longer than the other. I think I will do this. That's fine. Okay, kind of split the difference. Okay, I'm done with that. Press Control D, turns the marching ants off. Once again, I want to say File and Save. Continuously save your work. All right, what I'm going to do next is zoom out, double click the hand. I think what I'll do next is cut out the window. So let me zoom in. Okay, so let's do what we just did down here with the house lights or the Skittles. So I'm going to choose rectangle marquee. Again, if I'm inside the box little, that's great. The green box, select it. Choose magic wand. Say select from subtraction or from selection. Subtract from selection. Click in the green box and it outlines the window. Double click the hand. Click Move. Okay, move this down here on top of the gingerbread house. Zoom in on it. And I'm going to go ahead and resize this maybe just a little bit. So click on Move, hold Shift down, resize it just a little. That looks good. Click back on Move, say Apply. Okay. Move this in position about where it's at here. It looks good. Now, on the Move tool, press Alt, make a copy off to the right. And I want to actually flip this. I want to go up to Edit, Transform, flip horizontally. So now this curve is close to the door and that curve is close to the door. So start getting used to doing a lot of detail work. That's what will set your photographs apart from others. All right, looks pretty good. Looks like it's positioned in about the same place. Press Control D to unselect it. Double click the hand. Click on the magnifying glass. Zoom in on the peppermint ball. This time I want to use the elliptical marquee. Start off of the peppermint ball a little bit. Press Shift down to make a circle instead of an oval. Outline it. Now let go of the mouse and the keyboard, and I'm just going to use the arrow keys to move my marquee around a little bit. Double click the hand. Click on Move. And move that into position. So zoom in on the house. Oh, say Apply. I must have changed the size a little bit, didn't know it. It's fine. Use the hand. Okay, so click on Move again and move this where it's supposed to be, about right here. That looks good. All right, now while on the Move tool, hold the Alt key down. Make a copy, put a copy of it right here. Okay. Hold the Alt key down again. Left click. Okay. Do it one more time. We have all of our copies. Press Control D. Double click the hand. And we now have the gingerbread house made. We're almost done. All right, what we're going to do next is use the rectangle marquee tool. We're going to go just inside of the four corners of this background, and we're going to put a marquee around it. Okay, then we're going to go up to the image pull-down menu and click on the word crop. Press Control D. Click on File and Save. And that's it. You're done. So project 5-2 is completed. So what I like to do is minimize the software. I see my files right here. I want to drag and drop that into my H drive, my photography folder. And then open Photoshop back up, and then you can close it. And you're all done.